Hello, everyone. My name is Sean C. Harrison, singer, songwriter, poet, and general writer. Born in the parish of St. Thomas, Jamaica, to musical parents Patricia and Lascelles Harrison. As a child growing up, I was exposed to many of the better sides of Jamaican life living in the country, and having had parents who always saw it fit to be exposing us to different things and different areas of Jamaican life, and imparting a solid and sound education to us by buying many books and enrolling us in extra lessons and really being good parents, as good as they knew to be. And life as a child was mostly good. But then as we grow, we know that life changes. And so did it change for me. Family life became stormy. And even though I didn't think it affected me at the time, it really would have impacted me later on in early adulthood, in the manifestation of mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia in particular. Now, when there is what we call process schizophrenia, we don't look to one stimulus or one source to blame for this to have occurred. But as you go along from childhood into adolescence into adulthood, there would have been repeated traumatic events that would eventually lead to that diagnosis. And so it was for me. I lost my second brother, who was a dear, dear, dear person to me. And the trauma from that really did something to my psyche. But truth be told, there are many things that you can point to that will lead to mental illness. But that was one of them. Family life was one of them. And when I broke down mentally, finally in 1997, at the age of 19 years old, having held my first job in a prominent banking institution in Kingston, after having that happen, I was left alone by my family members in Jamaica, my immediate relatives at least, and only extended family was here, and some of them truly rallied to the task, as well as church members and other community members who did the best they could to help me. And I'm so grateful to some members of the St. Thomas community to date who have succored me and have nourished me and have cradled me with arms of love and acceptance in spite of suffering from mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia in particular. But the truth is, I have experienced some of the joys of living and the privileges of giving back that most mentally ill persons are not able to do because of how deeply they are affected by the illness. After having returned from the Edna College of the Visual and Performing Arts, having fallen ill in the earlier stages of my experience with mental illness, I conducted, along with Miss Eva English, a mentor and former teacher of mine, a Sunday school effort in the depressed area of Church Corner, from which my mother's line hailed. And for 3.5 years, I went and I helped with that Sunday school and saw those children grow and see to date many of them playing their roles and becoming productive members of society. Also, while I was in Edna Manley College, just going back a little, I got involved in prison ministry activities with a group there by the name of Connected. The group had also entered the JCDC's Gospel Song Contest in 2000, the 2000 staging. And in that contest, we toured many parts of Jamaica and were exposed to the different aspects of Jamaican life and were exposed to different places in Jamaica. The funny thing is that even though I was in the throes of the illness in Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, where I pursued a performance course in music, I was at the top of my class for the 3 semesters that I covered. And having had to leave Edna Manley College to come back to St. Thomas was a disappointing experience for me, because all my hopes as a musician or for being a musician were dashed. Because also the medications that I took a toll on my voice, on my vocal cords, and I wasn't able to sing anymore. Nonetheless, I continued doing songwriting and was able to pen a number of songs. But when my voice got so bad that I wasn't even able to pen songs, I actually started experimenting with poetry. And it was good. It was therapeutic, it was cathartic for me, and I was able to express myself even inside the loneliness that occurred after family members, immediate relatives emigrated from 1998 onwards. I was left alone in Jamaica, but I had friends and well-wishers and people who loved me. For the most part, I wasn't unstable, because about 4 years into the illness, I educated myself as it concerned mental illness. I read material extensively and realized that I had to be on medications. And I was able to keep stable. Even though I suffered the effects of the illness, still, I was still paranoid. I was still fearful. I was still passive. And I walked the chalk line as best I could, never having wanted to return to the place of disorientation that I knew some time before. But there are times when not even medications can help. Medications just keep you stable to a point. But there are many other important factors that impact upon how well you do and how well you weather the illness. And one of the things that is pivotal is the support of loving and caring people. And so my few words to anyone who knows a mental illness sufferer or who has had one in his or her family, or even has had a friend who would have broken down as a result of mental illness, my advice is to educate yourself or yourselves about the illness. Read and engage the persons. Seek to find where they are coming from in their experience. Seek to know what makes them tick. Seek to know what causes them to do the things they do, to say the things they say, and to think the way they do. And you would find, surprisingly, that though you may not understand in total what the experience is like, you will find that you had gone a long way in learning how to deal with a mentally ill person. There are things that even when we are on medications, we can't control. And it requires love. It requires patience to deal with us. But the truth is, you might have to be in it for the long haul. Because sadly for most people, mental illness persists in spite of how well they had been doing or we had been doing over time. And that realization for many persons is very frightening. But let's think of this, which is fact, by the way, that any person at any age, any point in time, is prone to mental illness. Any person. Because it's something that comes as a result of many things that are common to the human experience. And once you are a human being, you experience the things that humans do experience. Stresses, losses, disappointments, separations from those you love, financial troubles, and yes, even other sicknesses. Because I can tell you that if dealing with schizophrenia weren't enough, I can tell you that throughout my life from a child to date, I can count over 30 illnesses that have affected me, some perhaps minor, but some major and very telling. So it's not that one thing will guarantee that you don't experience other negative things. It's just that life is full of problems. And life is full of distresses and heartaches. And we all need somebody's shoulder to lean on. So think twice before you pass a mentally ill person by. It's not their fault. They may not have been as wicked as you would have thought that would have brought on this illness, because in Jamaica, there is the belief and the notion that because you had done some eternal wrong, that is why you are mentally ill. But mental illness affects some of the most unexpected and nicest people we would ever know. So please, please, I have been able to produce. I have been able to give back, to contribute. One of my poetic pieces was included in a distinguished anthology, Black Lives Have Always Mattered, based in the US. I won a creative writing competition by the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, prestigious national competition, twice in Jamaica. I have 6 collections of poetry on the internet. I have 1 EP of songs that I wrote, sang, played, produced on the internet also. And yes, there was the Sunday school effort that I became a part of. And in my church that I attended at the time, the Mortby Seventh-day Adventist Church, I was active. I was helping out in departments. I was using my poetry. I was using my skills in other areas. And I was able to be as productive as I could be for a long time. And I am glad for that. And other mentally ill people can be productive too, if we just give them a chance and work with them. So I beg you, those of you who will be exposed to this filming, to please remember we are people too, and we need to be loved and cared for. So thank you to all those people who are reaching out to others. And I implore all who want to join them and make somebody's life better and more worthwhile. Thank you.